Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Glide Memorial Church. My name is Keith Watts. I am the Assistant Director of Music Ministries here. Zoe Ellis, as you may know, is celebrating with us tonight in spirit, but I'm just very happy to be with you tonight. We have the Glide Ensemble here. Glide Ensemble, could you stand up for me, please? And the one and only Miss Janice Maxie Reed over on piano tonight. We just want to extend a warm welcome to you. How many of you, this is your first time in Glide Memorial Church? Give it up for them. Welcome. You are welcome here as you are. Both myself and many members of the Glide Ensemble Choir, we have had many complex stories with church, with the institution of religion. And so we're going to be singing a lot about God, about Christ. But if you are here tonight and that is something that you are still processing, you are welcome to plug in the word love, plug in the word hope. If you are here and there is a higher power that is more readily accessible to you, you are free to worship as you are able and willing. And so things that we sometimes say amen. Amen just means I agree. Can you say amen? Amen. Amen. All right, and so tonight we're talking about how she carried us forward, and I couldn't think of a better song and person to lead us through this. Dennis Hersey. We have a divine parent who has carried us forward, who is not oblivious or ignorant of the struggles of the past. And yet, that divine parent is bearing hope in their womb. You are here to be born to tell the story, tell your story of love, tell your message of hope. And so Dennis is going to help us do that tonight.
Good evening, everybody. We're so glad that you are here. It's going to be a wonderful evening. And you can clap if you want to. Just look where I've come from. I've come a long way. Had some lonely nights. Oh, yes, I have. And I've had some dark days. I've already been to the top of the mountain. I can almost reach that crystal fountain. Just look. Yeah.
I've come a long way,
But I got a long way to go. Just look where we've come from. We've come through the storm and rain.
All right now, come on now.
Many evils have crossed my path, but I kept on trudging just the same. And I asked the Lord just to give me more faith, to help me to help me run this race. Just look. Oh yeah, come a long way, y'all. But I got a long way to go. I got a long way to go. Thank you.
Good for Dennis. Thank you. We praise our Heavenly Maker who carries us forward. We're going to just lift up this song of total praise. If you know it, feel free to sing along. Again, put in the words that mean love, that mean higher power for you. Let's lift up that song.
Let's give it up one more time for the Glide Ensemble, everybody. Good evening, everyone. Could y'all hear that? Because when we greet each other here at Glide Memorial Church, we have to say it really loud, because imagine someone walking down Ellis or coming up Taylor and they hear this sound of justice, of unconditional love, and they crane their necks and lean their bodies in, and they end up coming in because they can hear you. So that's why good evening, good morning is so important at Glide Memorial Church. So we're going to try that one more time. And you say it like you're calling somebody into this movement. Yeah. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Oh my God, give yourselves a round of applause for being here this evening. My name is Marvin K. White, and I am the Minister of Celebration here at Glide Memorial Church. And I want to welcome you into this sanctuary, welcome you into Glide Memorial Church and into the Glide Foundation. This is a place where love prepares the road, where futures are blessed without being owned. On this day, which is the birthday of Janice Mirkatani, our poet laureate in heaven, our literary ancestor. Yes, give it up for Janice. And in this season of Black Futures Month, I want us to hear this poem from Janice called For a Daughter Who Leaves. And I want you to hear it as an instruction that Janice sent forward for us, because in her poem, Janice teaches us to love well is not to hold back, but to stitch what others will walk on, to turn grief into preparation, memory into movement, and the heart into a spool that keeps giving thread. And may we do that work together. For a Daughter Who Leaves by Janice Mirkatani. More than gems in my comb box shaped by the god of the sea, I prize you, my daughter. Lady Otomo, an 8th century Japan writer. A woman weaves her daughter's wedding slippers that will carry her steps into a new life. The mother weeps alone into her jeweled sewing box, slips red thread around its spool, the same she used to stitch her daughter's first silk jacket embroidered with turtles that would bring luck and long life. She remembers all the steps taken by her daughter's unbound quick feet, dancing on the stones of the yard among yellow butterflies and white-breasted sparrows. And she grew, and she grew. Legs strong, body long, mind independent. Now she captures all eyes with her hair combed smooth and her hips gently swaying like bamboo. The woman spins her thread from the spool of her heart, nodded to her daughter's departing wedding slippers. Janice Mirkatani. Welcome to Glide Memorial Church, everyone. Welcome to this amazing evening that our Center for Social Justice has planned for you. Again, my name is Marvin K. White. Welcome, everyone.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Naima. I'm the head of Glide Center for Social Justice, and we're truly honored to be here with you all tonight. And as a Black woman, as a leader, and as someone who deeply believes in the power of truth-telling, remembrance, and collective healing. Tonight's event, She Carries Us Forward, is a conversation to honor the enduring leadership of Black women across the United States. And it feels especially meaningful at this point in time. Black History Month is also often framed as a reflection of the past, but I live as a living practice of the current. Black history is still unfolding. It lives in our bodies. It lives in our stories, in our resistance, our creativity, our love, and our care for one another. So thank you for holding space with us tonight. Our conversation about the Mothers of Gynecology ask us to hold a difficult and necessary truth, that modern medicine was built in part on the exploitation and suffering of Black women, often without consent, without recognition, and always without justice. And yet, Black women persisted Black women have survived. Black women carry knowledge, innovation, and courage forward towards anything they could imagine. And it feels especially powerful to hold this conversation at Glide, an institution rooted in dignity, radical love, and the belief that everyone deserves to be seen, heard, and cared for. Glide has often been a refuge for the Black community in the Bay Area and beyond, and it continues to do so under Dr. Gina Fromer's leadership. I'm deeply grateful that we're joined by Michelle Browder, whose work ensures these stories are not buried, not softened, and not forgotten. And I'm proud to share space with our CEO, Dr. Gina Fromer, whose leadership continues to model what it looks like to be a Black woman who leads with excellence and unapologetically. May tonight be a space for learning, honoring, and reflection. I would now like to introduce Rabbi Michael Lazak.
Thank you, Naima. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Glide. So great to see so many faces I know and new faces as well. I'm going to take Glide. We came back from our 9th pilgrimage about 2 months ago. On our 2nd pilgrimage, which was in 2019, at the opening session, someone came over to me and said, "Hey, Rabbi, I just met this woman who runs these tours, but her dad was the first Black prison chaplain in Alabama. Would it be okay if they came to dinner with us?" And I said, of course. So we're always welcoming guests in at Glide. And Chap Browder came that night and told his stories and lit up the room. I didn't know who the lady was with the weird red glasses over there. I didn't know who she was, but we quickly established something and quickly fell in love. Since 2019, all the way until 2 months ago, Glide's Justice pilgrimages are anchored in our time with Michelle Browder and the entire Browder clan at the More Up campus around the corner from the National Memorial for Peace and Justice. I'll make the pitch later, but I'm just gonna say we're going twice in April. We got space on the bus. Call your Visa company on the way home. Give us a call. We would love for you to be on the bus with us. I'm gonna say this. I can't believe I get to be a rabbi at this extraordinary building and in this extraordinary institution. Glide dreams about healing hearts and bodies and minds and souls, but beyond individuals, we dream about healing streets and neighborhoods and beyond. And we go to Alabama to think deeply about what it might mean to heal America from a 400-year-old disease, a 400-year-old cancer. And we go to summon these hard truths. Michelle Browder is one of the fiercest truth tellers I have ever met. One of the most light-filled souls, and actually one of the funniest people I've ever met as well. There's a blessing we say Jewishly when we're in the presence of greatness. I didn't roll out a red carpet here, but the blessing goes like this. I'll translate and then welcome you officially. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shechalak mechochmato lire'av. We're grateful to the creator of the universe, who took a portion of wisdom from up there and put it in your luminous heart and luminous soul. And we think about the thousands of people each year who get to sit on the bus with you, who get to sit around the mothers and hear very hard stories. But we tell those hard stories with the hopes of healing, of bringing healing here and there. Michelle Browder, your arrival at Glide is a huge blessing. We would love to welcome you to the stage right now.
I'm very grateful to be here, but I come also as a preacher's daughter. I heard the brother earlier when he heard a little church hurt and how people have been used and abused by religion and clergy. And so I heard that and I feel that even now as I stand here. But I also feel the healing that Glide has been bringing into the room. And so even though we're more than likely different religions, maybe you read from the Bhagavad, maybe you read from the Quran, perhaps maybe Assalamu alaikum. I don't know, maybe you don't believe at all. Maybe you're Presbyterian or agnostic. And so you brought your religions in the room, your belief systems in the room. And I'm bringing Jesus in the room with me tonight, only because we have to change the narrative. It's who I grew up with, what I've learned, and it's been hijacked in terms of how we are to love each other and how we are to welcome one another. And so I would quote Dr. King when he says that we are in dire. My t-shirt says dire need. They have done away with DEI. I say take it. I never believed in it anyway, Rabbi. Simply because without dignity, integrity, respect, and empathy, DEI is only an acronym. People died because of DEI. There was a woman who killed herself because they allowed her to be in a position, but yet they taunted her. Do you all know who I'm talking about? They taunted her to the point where she killed herself. And so I didn't mean to start off that heavy, but it's on my heart. It's where we are. And so with that, I say, I welcome my ancestors and Cecil and Janice into the room today. And the amazing work that has been done here, and the fists and the Black Power and the Fred Hamptons of the world, I welcome them in today. I'm coming from Montgomery, Alabama, so with me I brought in Lucille Times. Maybe you've heard of her, maybe not, but Lucille Times was a Black woman who was beaten by the same man that arrested Rosa Parks. She was driving home and actually going to the cleaners, and the same guy who arrested Rosa Parks had pushed her off the side of the road, not one time, but 3 times. And the last time, and y'all, I ain't gonna cuss in the church, because you know my mama is on my shoulder, don't you say it. But one of the things that she said was when she got out of the car, the officer approached her, Miss Lucille Times, this entrepreneur, this amazing woman who opened up what they call the Times Cafe. She was an entrepreneur, and they did all types of fundraising, right? This is in Montgomery, but you don't hear about her. You don't hear about her because when she was driven off the road by this officer, they started fighting. She gets out of the car, and she says, "What are you doing to me?" And he slapped her and called her a son of a bitch. And she rose up and said, "Do you not know that you have called a Black woman a son of a bitch?" And then she went on to proceed to call him a SOB. Now, you know they don't do that in the 60s. You know she could have lost her life. And they started fighting. So when you said that they carried her forward, or that she carried them forward, you also have to believe about the revolts that took place that nobody likes to talk about. There is a fight, and that we all must engage in that fight today. And I will end with what that fight is in a clarion call. But I come to you by way of the Mothers of Gynecology. I was 19. Can I tell this story? Y'all ain't gonna be mad. Okay. I gotta tell you this story because these women carried me forward since I was a kid, 19 years old at the Art Institute of Atlanta. And you mentioned my father, the first Black prison chaplain that was appointed by George Wallace. My daddy would always tell me, he was like, "Michelle, your mouth gonna get you in trouble one day." And I was like, "That's okay, until it does, I'm gonna continue to talk." And so one day, I was called out of my name and I started fighting, right? And so I went home that night and my mama said, "You just wait till your daddy get home." I'm like, "Fine, I'll wait." You know, I was a little cocky kid. And so when he gets home, he says, "You know, I'm not gonna do anything to you tonight." He said, "Because I see what you're going through." He understood the racism that took place. Right after integration, right? The N-word was still a thing. My instructors and my teachers would call us that. So I was defending myself because I had good diction. I talked a little, I was smart. I had a little something about myself. And in the South, you couldn't have a little something about yourself because you would be what they would call the uppity Negro. Or you too smart. You think too much, right? So I didn't mind because that's who my parents raised me to be. And so my father said, "If you don't get a hold of yourself, Michelle, you're going to find yourself in Tutwiler." And Tutwiler prison was one of the worst prisons that you could go to as a woman. Even, I think in 2019, they stopped chaining these women when they were giving birth, right? And so my father, being the man that he was, would take us into Tutwiler, and I would see the atrocities that were happening to Black and brown women and just white women. And so I said, this is not going to be me. And so he says, "I'm going to bring you 10 tubes of paint and 8 T-shirts, and I want you to do something with your life. I want you to think about what you're doing, because right now I was in dire need. Do you understand? So I started painting, and from that day to this one, I've been an entrepreneur all of my life. So when I'm at 19 years old, I go to the Art Institute of Atlanta, and I created my whole portfolio to honor these three girls. And let me just tell you about Anarcha, Lucy, and Betsy. And Lucy, they were three girls that were kidnapped, enslaved, and used as experiments. So for those of us who have had pap smears, you understand that tool, which is called the Sims retractor, the speculum that was used to do your pelvic exams, to open up your cervix. These black girls, these three black girls that were used as experiments, but also used as breeders, were basically tortured in the name of healthcare and science. And so there was this postcard that I saw on my professor's desk as I'm this bright-eyed girl at the Art Institute of Atlanta. And when I asked my professor, I was like, what does this mean? And maybe many of you have seen this picture. It's by Robert Tom. You may get him construed as, what is his name? Norman Rockwell. You know Norman Rockwell? It looks like his work, but it's not. But Robert Tom was an amazing artist out of Michigan, and he created 45 great moments in medicine to kind of chronicle the evolution of science and history and J. Marion Sims, just one of those 45 great moments. So when I asked my professor, why is there a black girl kneeling with her hand on her chest? What's going on in this picture? Why are there two black girls peering behind this sheet as if they were afraid of what's happening or what's going to happen to befall them? And he looked at me and he said, why don't you go and figure it out? I said, okay, white man. That's exactly what I said. I'll go figure it out. Little Miss Cocky showed up. So I went and learned from the Shrine of the Black Madonna. Shrine of the Black Madonna would teach you about the African diaspora and transatlantic slave trade. And I learned that these girls were kidnapped, enslaved, and used as breeders. And in Montgomery, Alabama, in 1808, the transatlantic slave trade was outlawed around the country, right? We had 40,000 enslaved African men, women, and children at that time. By the end of the Civil War, 1865, we had 435,000 enslaved men, women, and children. Where do you think we were getting them from? We're not going back to Benin. We're not trafficking them from Ghana or from the Caribbean. Where are we getting? We're breeding them. And I learned this at 19, so it's time for me to graduate. I go to my professor and I presented my whole portfolio to honor these three girls. Literally, I see some of the pictures right here. Literally, where they're standing today, they're 6 blocks from where Anarcha, the tall one, where she was enslaved. The West Scots plantation, it's now called West Scottsville, is where she was enslaved. So every day, you talked about me giving these tours. It's like Groundhog Day. I have to relive this trauma and tell the story how J. Marion Sims, this doctor who's known as the father of modern gynecology, stands at the state's capitol, and I have to tell people about him. But what they don't tell you is that not only was he the father of modern gynecology, but he was what they also would call, if they were Jewish, Father Butcher or Mangala, had that correlation. And so I asked, why is he here? Did my research. Why is he here? And after learning that he's there because MASA, the Medical Association for the State of Alabama, I can't make it up. It's good material, but I didn't make it up. The MASA had erected him in 1939 to honor this guy. And so finally, thank God for COVID. Sorry that we've lost lives, but COVID saved mine. I needed a break. I needed to be creative. And so during COVID, guess where I flew out? Hunters Point, San Francisco. Nobody told me that it was cold here. So here I come out here with this thing, I'm sweating right now. Nobody told me that it was cold in San Francisco. This woman by the name of Dana Albany, and I see some of y'all burning people, some of y'all burning man people that be running around in the naked desert naked. I see you. Don't raise your hand. You, sir, with the phone in the back. I see you. But anyway, I flew out here to learn how to weld from amazing artists right at the box shop, Hayes Valley. I stayed there for a month and 3 weeks, and I learned how to weld from these amazing artists. And I came back after a month and a half, and my father paved the way for me. He opened up his warehouse, and he said, "You need a place to finish your work." And I cried, because I'm like, how am I going to do this? I'm just learning to weld. But I felt the calling. I felt that there was a dire need of creative extremism. And I'm taking that word back, because a lot of people, when you say extremism, people get upset because it's a political thing, it's a religious thing. But Dr. King said that we are in dire need of creative extremists. And so with that, I decided to erect this monument literally 6 blocks from where this lady, this girl, 17 years old, was kidnapped, enslaved, was breeding children, up to six children, and erected this beautiful monument. And from there, the rest is history. From there, we went into conferences where people are coming from around the world, women like Harriet Washington. Anybody ever read the book Medical Apartheid? You got to read it if you want to get more understanding about this medical history of ours. Dietrich Cooper Owens, medical bondage. These people said that they would come out and basically help me with my conference, and 125 people showed up. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. It's only 125, but I thought it was great. And so I said, I want to be able to teach this to people around the country, teach about how they would crush a woman's pelvic floor. Black women, black girls, how they were raped. We're talking about Epstein and all of this happening is history right now. We are in dire need to tell this story. So I'm like, how can I use my art to grab people by the hand and say, listen, this medical history is right now. Sterilizing people at the border during COVID. We were sterilizing people at the border. 125 people said, yes, we'll come. We had an amazing event, but then I told my team, we need to have a conversation in the space where these girls were raped and tortured. 33 Perry Street, literally 6 blocks from the Mothers of Gynecology, from where the girls are erected. We go 6 blocks down. I called, can I tell this story? Y'all don't know this story. Y'all ain't ready. Okay, so let me tell you. 6 blocks from where these girls were tortured is where they now stand, right? So I called the owner of the building, the land where these girls were tortured, the hospital where J. Marion Sims, where he did these experimentations. I called the owner, and the gentleman that answered the phone said, Ms. Browder, he's not here, but why don't you just go down to the site, and the owner is there right now. So tell him what you want. So I go down, and y'all, this was during the time when Mike Pence and all of these people, they were running. And I swear to God, that tall white man with that gray hair turned around, and I said, oh my God, he looks like Mike Pence with glasses. And I'm like, oh, I immediately judged him. And I said, this ain't nothing but a proud boy, right? I was in my feelings. He turned around, he says, are you here to buy the building? And I said, no, sir, I'm here because I would like to have a convenience in the backyard. They told me to come see you. And I just thought I was just tossing my pearls to the wind. He was like, do you need access? I said, no. He says, well, Ms. Browder? He said, sure, you can do that. I thought you were here to buy the building. I said, tell me about this building, sir. He's like, well, Ms. Browder, if you tell anybody, I deny it. So when the movie come out, y'all act like y'all didn't know. He said, Ms. Browder, there's paranormal activity happening in this building. And I laughed, and he turned beet red. And he said, I'm serious. He said, we're trying to get rid of the building. Long story short, I was crazy enough to say, well, sir, I think we need the building. He said, what would you do with it? Anybody see the movie Sinners? What did that man say to him? What you gonna do with the building? So I'm triggered already, right? So basically I told him, I said, I wanna create space for people that are disfavored. There are birthing people out there that don't get the support that they need. We'll bring in doulas and midwives, medical practitioners and nurses, and we'll teach them before they learn this curriculum that's currently in our history, or excuse me, in our medical books today that say black people have a higher nerve ending, that black people experience pain differently, that we can tolerate the pain. I said, we'll teach these kids before they even get indoctrinated, right? He was like, oh, Miss Browder, I sure do love this idea. I said, for real? He said, I love it. And so I said, okay. And he says, well, if you're gonna do all of this to this building, you know, it's $100,000, but if you want it, I'll let you have it for $75,000. And I looked at that man seriously and I said, shut up, Mike. And he said, my name is Jim. Who is Mike? And I said, you're gonna read about it one day, just hold on. He's like, I love this idea. He said, you could do it. So I said, can I make you an offer? He said, make your offer. I said, let me give you $35,000. You carry it alone. I'm a successful black businesswoman. If it hadn't been for Glide that comes every year and people who believe in us, 10 years, we celebrate this year, 10 years. And I see my friends wearing the caps and wearing the glasses. I so do thank you. I thank you so much for being a part of us, because you all have actually built what we're talking about right now, for simply doing business with us. And he said, Ms. Browder, I said, can I give you 35? Because my bank won't give me a loan. Even though there was 200,000 sitting in it, they still told me that because I'm a black woman and I don't have the woman business. You understand where I'm going with that? So he says, you know, I said, sir, I could give you $35,000 if you could carry the loan. He says, I don't know about that, Ms. Browder. I need you to, let me go, just call me back on Monday and let me go home and talk to my wife. And I said, absolutely not. Because in the South, it was white women that were worse than the white man, worse. Because you would think we would have some camaraderie, right? Some type of relationship with white women and the enslaved, but they were treated worse. So I said, I'm not calling back the Daughters of the Confederacy. I'm not going to do it. Monday came, I would not pick up that phone. Don't judge me. We listen and we don't. That lady Scarlett, Gone with the Wind, called me up, Miss Browder. I need you to tell me what you want to do with this building. And I was like, you. I'm driving and I'm seeing Trump signs and I'm seeing Confederate flags and I'm in Huntsville. This is where they kill black people at sundown town. I was like, I'm not saying nothing. But she pulled it out of me. She said, tell me, I want to know what you're going to do. And I started telling her, and she said, oh, Michelle, we're so proud of the work you're doing in Montgomery. We've been watching you for years. I had to pull the car over. I was weeping so hard. I was like, what do you mean? She says, just give us that $35,000 and you can have the building. Do what you say you're going to do. Because there's a dire need of creative extremism. Creative extremists like Cecil and Janice, who said, we'll love them. We'll bring in the poor. We'll love on them. We'll open up our arms to what the society says that they're incorrigible, or the disfavored, or the unhoused, or the church hurt. We'll give you a platform. We'll let you sing, because what the world and what the nation is in need of are creative extremists, right? We'll create space for you. So she goes on and says, we love what you're doing. Fast forward. The picture that I saw when I was 19 years old, the University of Michigan. Any blues in here? Uh-oh, go blue. Okay. University of Michigan has this beautiful painting along with 45 great moments of medicine. And I was at a conference, and a woman came up to me and she says, Michelle, she was like, you know, I just love what you're doing with gynecology. And I started telling her how I really wanted to get this painting that I saw when I was 19 years old. Come to find out, she was a gynecologist and she works with the University of Michigan. And when she told me that, I said, go and tell the lady to loose that painting. I started preaching to her, Rabbi. Loose those chains and bring it out of the basement so that we could tell this story and that we can start uplifting and encouraging people. When you talk about she carried them forward, These girls have been with me since I was 19, so they're carrying us forward. You understand? On Mother's Day of last year, we put that painting on the wall in the building where the enslaved girls were raped, tortured, and experimented on in downtown Montgomery, Alabama. Not only did we change the narrative, but we reclaimed the space. Because what the world and what the nation and what the South needs more of are creative extremists. Fast forward, y'all ready? We ain't gonna stop. The work is heavy. The history is now. They're telling us that we can't read. They're telling us that we can't love. They're telling us that we have to reverse the Civil Rights Act of 1964. They're telling us that we can't move forward and be kind to our neighbors. Yet there's a Statue of Liberty that says, lend us your poor and your huddled masses, right? Yearning to be free. Hypocrisy of it all. So fast forward, our medical health care is on the chopping block. Aetna owns CVS, and CVS owns Oak Health, and Oak Health owns your health care. And they don't want to give it to us, so what do? Like the Dyer League is what I call it, the Negro League created their own sports arenas. Are y'all following me? Just over the bay, there were some Black Panthers that created their own health care centers, Glide Health, Glide Insurance. My Lord, when I think about taking art and history and where we're going now with creating a health center, it's not a clinic, but it's a health center for women. The last building that J. Marion Sims owned, we are in the process of purchasing it for health care, to give love and to help people, preventative measures without COVID. Some beet juice. We need some beet juice, some carrot juice. I don't know if y'all have ever heard of a woman by the name of Queen Afua. Queen Afua will be with us February 26th through March 1st because we're launching our health care center for the people of the community who need some beet juice, some root. We're getting to the root of the cause. So when you said she carried us forward, it's time to be creative. Not just as the Negro Leagues, but all of those women who took the scrapple, what they call scrapple, which was the leftovers from what the massa would give them for food because Black people had malnourishments, right? And so basically, their oppressor would give them pig feet. And from pig feet, we have pig sandwiches. We have pig ears. We eat the swine, but it carried them over. And so I'm not going to belabor the time, but I just feel that Dr. King, when people talk about him, they always give us that we had, I had a dream. Nobody wants to talk about the Poor People's Campaign. Nobody wants to talk about what got him killed. Loving people, economic justice. So the clarion call is for Glide tonight. It's beautiful that you all have opened up your doors, but there's somebody who can't afford the health insurance. And I'm trying to figure out how do we do that? How can we create our own health care systems? That's why with our conference, we're taking people to Birmingham to learn from A.G. Gadsden, who opened up a hotel, who opened up his own insurance company, and was able to give the people the love and care that they need. And guess who built the museum? His own construction company, A.G. Gadsden. So with that, I say, thank you all for having me. But what the world and what the South and what the nation needs more of are creative extremists. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm supposed to sit in the middle.
Thank you. Another round of applause for Michelle Browder. I know, all close together. Thank you. We're now going to move into the Q&A part of our conversation for tonight. And with that, I am going to welcome our second and final panelist to the stage. This woman is a sixth-generation San Franciscan, born and raised in the Bayview Hunters Point neighborhood, and ascended to become Glide's president and CEO. Dr. Frommer holds a PhD in organizational development, and her dissertation was Black Women Who Emerged from Poverty and Transitioned into Executive Positions, the perfect theme of carrying us forward. And her passion for uplifting Black women, as well as all San Franciscans, is evident at Glide and throughout San Francisco and beyond. It's a dedication to true social justice work. And I have seen firsthand the impact Dr. Frommer has had on Black women, and honestly, anyone she comes into contact with, including myself, teaching them how to be unapologetically themselves, to do the hard work, and to find joy while you are doing it. And she recently became a reverend, so congratulations on that. Please join me in welcoming Glide's CEO and president to the stage, Dr. Gina Frommer. Hello. Testing. Welcome, both of you, to the stage, and I just appreciate you coming all the way from Alabama to have this conversation with us at Glide and all the work that you do, Dr. Frommer. So I want to start it off with just understanding the why behind why both of you do the work that you do. You both are clearly very passionate about the work, but it's extremely heavy work. So why is it important for you as Black women and Black leaders to engage in this work and to create a legacy?
You want me to go first? I love Michelle. I'm so inspired by her. Let's give her a hand. Oh my God, oh my God. And I know that when I look at little young girls, no matter who they are, especially young Black and brown girls, that is why I do the work that I do. I think about my mom who raised 6 kids, growing up in poverty, generational poverty. And, that means your mom, your grandma, and most likely the next generations before that all lived in extreme poverty. And I knew at a young age that I didn't want to raise my kids in that way. I wanted them to experience things. And so I fight every day to get people out of this situation. And it started at 14, and so here I am today still walking that walk, and I'm driven because of my mother. That's why I do this work.
And for you, why you kind of mentioned, but is there anything else on why you are so committed to this work of legacy and liberation for Black women?
Our lives depend on it, especially right now with reproductive health and justice and just what's happening to us medically. So as an artist, and I don't have any children, and so this is my way of saying I want to leave this baby to grow up and to be more inclusive for those who don't have a voice, right? And so I feel like the call is to continue to use my art because there is a need, there's a dire need for someone to hear the cries of women who just want to have children, and or for women who want the right to have children or to do whatever she needs to do what's right for her body. So that's why I do the work.
Thank you. Thank you. With your work with Anarcha, Betsy, and Lucy, it seems that you tell the story of their experiences, but you also kind of twist it to make it empowering and liberating. Why is it important to shift that narrative?
It's important to shift the narrative because for so long, when you think about slavery, right? Everybody knows that the people were enslaved. Over 12 billion people were kidnapped and enslaved. Many of them drowned. That's all. We start with slavery and we end with that. But there was so much more to people on the continent than what they were. Kings, they were queens, they were innovators, they were astrologers. They dealt with astrology. They were innovators. So it's important for us to show the resiliency of Black people and Black women, and what out of the trauma, what they were able to produce, which is now we have women who have fistulas, which is what Anarcha, Lucy, and Betsy had, were these fistulas or holes that would render them incontinent. But because Sims had shown them the procedures, we now have remedies for that. In Africa, it's still very prominent. There's hospitals in Africa that are using the procedures to heal these women. So I just think it's important to carry that forward. Yeah.
Dr. Gino, we've talked about this a lot with systems and institutions and the importance to have people who are impacted by the systems be in leadership. Why do you think that is so important to you?
Because they are forgotten. If we don't make a way for individuals who are in the margins, they stay there. And when I was in Alabama, to be honest, I didn't want to go to Alabama. I was afraid. I'm 6 generations all from the South, but I consider myself a Northern girl. And I was always afraid to go back to the South, Michelle, because I didn't know when I got off the plane if the Ku Klux Klan was going to be waiting for me. It's that you grew up thinking that, right? And hearing the stories of individuals who are here, it's the same sort of prison that they're in. It's the same sort of, they get locked in and left behind, whether they're on the street in the Tenderloin or, trying to figure out things in Alabama. The fight is still the same. It's freedom, liberation, justice, and harmony. And I know that if we are working with people with lived experiences and they can get over that hump, that is what 30% of our staff have been incarcerated. And they're all doing well. Economic mobility, justice, health care, things that normal people deserve that we all take for granted, individuals on the street right now don't have. And so I do this to liberate, to free, to show true freedom. And I also believe that education is a true freedom. And so that's how we have our youth centers working with the babies, because if we can get them earlier, they won't end up on the street. There's some more options people have. So again, from Alabama to here, to Ghana, there's stories all around. And I see my staff that I work with, and I know a lot of them been through it. I've been through it. But when they come to Glide, they're treated with respect, dignity, empowerment, integrity, and they have a chance. We hear them, we see them, we know them. And that's important. That's why I do the work that I do. And I think that is that liberation path. And that's steeped in Black theology, believe it or not. That's steeped in Black theology. And that's what Cecil knew, that's what Rabbi knows, and that's what I know. And Janice knew that we have to continue to fight for the people who are in the margins, to be seen and heard, because that's the generations we want to have an opportunity, right?
And I assume that's a theme in your work too, hoping to inspire women through the statues. Like what are you helping to communicate to Black women through your artwork?
Not just to communicate, but also to teach, right? I want to teach these young girls, young people, young humans, what it is to go through not just being marginalized and abused, but what came out of it, and the fact that they can change the narrative, and they can go on to heal others. So with my art, I'm trying to heal, right? Healing is in knowing. So there's a guy on Instagram, and his thing is healing is in knowing. He's going to be at our conference too, by the way, February 20th through March 1st. Dr. Ford, he talks about healing is in knowing, and when you know better, you'll do better. And so basically, that is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to use my art to prick a heart, to educate, and hopefully liberate some folks, you know? So that's it.
I feel liberated, Michelle, because of your work.
To both of you, how do you distinguish between remembering history and transforming the conditions that history has created? We feel like it's like a balance between remembering history, but also wanting to think about the future and where we need to go. How do you balance those two things? For both of you.
Yeah, I know I got a little ADHD. Say it one more time.
Yeah. So how do you distinguish between remembering history and transforming the conditions that history has created? So, you know, remembering what happened to the Mothers of Gynecology, and how does that connect to transforming the future of medical practices and making sure Black women have consent and are engaged, and, you know, with Glide and the work we do and our work with providing people with healthcare services as well. Yeah.
Well, first of all, you have to educate, right? So in Montgomery, Alabama, I will tell you, the building that we now hold, or that we have, was actually a building that was owned by the father of the congressman from Alabama that went on to create the Hill-Burton Act. We're not talking about that. That went on to open up hospitals in rural counties. Look it up. Put that in your Hill-Burton. Why are we not talking about that? It was free health care. But they also had segregation laws. So basically, if you know better, I'm trying to tell people more so how this history that we're living in right now is right now. It's not history anymore for me. So it's not a distant thing. And so what I'm hoping is that more and more people would come to the table and have the conversation around Medicaid, Medicare, how it's being dismantled, but the root cause of it, which is, again, excluding people from health, from access. And so just basically my thoughts on what we're trying to do with that. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think about the Jewish community, and they always say that, you know, you have to remember.
Yes.
So we won't make the same mistakes. We never let this happen again. Mm-hmm. And I see history in remembering as an opportunity to revolt, to rebuild. Yes. You remember to rebuild. You remember to change, you know. And what's happening right now, the dismantling of civil rights, human rights, dignity with our immigrants and the Black community right now, we cannot let this happen. I mean, I would sell my house to go back to the South and fight for this. Like, this is not gonna happen on our watch. We're too educated, we're too smart, we got too much money, this cannot happen. But guess what, it's happening right now in Alabama. I could not believe that they're denying Medi-Cal from the federal government. They're denying basic things that are available to people there because of racism.
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
That's heavy.
It is.
So guess what? Build our own hospitals.
That's it.
Let's get our own health care. Let's
it.
get our own insurance.
That's it.
Let's do it.
That's it.
Glide Healthcare. I'm trying to build a new healthcare center in our new building. We've been talking about this since I got here. Yes, we need to do this for our own community, for street medicine on the street right now, because they have to go past Van Ness. They got to go way over the street. And we're doing it right now in our parking lot, wound care. We need it right here on site. Yeah. Because if we're going to truly change San Francisco and change the way people live in our city, we have to be the change we want to see.
That's it.
And so that's what history is to me. I learned from it. Because guess what? I am not going back.
Yeah.
I've never been in the South, and I ain't going back.
Yeah. That's right.
You can't take me somewhere I've never been. Okay? I'm not going back to the projects.
Come on.
I'm not going back to the South. I'm not going back to Stand and Glide's food lines. Because guess what? I worked too hard to be where I am. And my children and their children and your children are going to make sure if that young lady I met in there, 12 years old, came and had Michelle glasses on, took pictures, she going to make sure, young Jewish lady, young woman, her family, they here tonight. They're going to make sure we don't go backwards. So that's what history is. For me, it's remembering, it's going back and crying, but moving forward. It's the revolt we need to have. You talked about revolt? It's right now.
Absolutely. Can I just add to that? And the fact that they're trying to erase memory, right? That we're taking it out of the books. We're banning books. Nicole Hannah-Jones, 1619 is banned. Now, for every banned book, I just want to go out and read them all. Because apparently there's something in there that they don't want you to remember or recite or learn, because knowledge is power, right? So I think that's the charge to keep when you're trying to decipher between memory and what's going forward is we have no memory because we don't know. And so that's also the Glide charge, is to learn more. Read every banned book that's out there so that we can decipher between the two.
We need a banned book library. Where's Minister? Minister
Right.
Marvin?
Banned book library.
We need a banned book library.
Thank you. And yeah, I think a lot of these systems are just changing form, but it's a continuation. So thank you for both speaking to that. Dr. Gina, your dissertation explored Black women who emerged from generational poverty and transitioned into executive leadership. What patterns did you notice across the journeys of the women you engaged with, and what themes really stood out from your research?
Yeah, I was mind-boggled because it was hard for me to find women or Black girls who actually exited poverty and became CEOs or executive leaders. It was really, really hard to find them. And when I did, I had nine women who were all CEOs, and all of them grew up in generational poverty. And some of the themes, the resilience, it was the resilience that these women had, how the resilience shaped them to say, I want out of this. I want to change the generations going forward. And they did. Some of the common themes were these young girls had a sense of community. Projects, didn't matter, it was East LA, South, they knew who their neighbors were, they knew where they can go. They didn't go over the tracks, but they knew where they can go eat. They had a sense of community. They also had seen a Black role model in some way. I remember a woman saying, I was on a plane and I'm very tall, and there was a Black stewardess on the plane, and I said, I can be just like her. A Black role model, someone who looked like them, a teacher, someone that they can look up to. Common theme in that story with these women. I thought education was going to be the thing, but it wasn't. Education in the Black community is a given. It's like breathing. You were going to get an education back then. It's not even something that we had to even talk about. Sense of community, positive role model, and the role of resilience that played. And all of them said, I don't want to be in poverty anymore. That determination, that perseverance that they had throughout their life journey. The trauma, they got through it, and that's how resilience was built. So resilience was the key thing that played a role. It was a through line in these women's lives. And I think about myself, and I validate that. As a resilient Black woman, and these women were all African American, and they told their stories. And not one of them today is in poverty, and their children are not in poverty. So I know it can be done. And the story about Black girls needing that role model in schools. I live in Marin County. I'm raising a 3.5-year-old Black girl, and she's in a school with no other kids look like her. I have a problem with that. No teachers. So I'm seeking a school that at least she can see somebody who looked like her in Marin County where I live. It's hard. Systems and society has been set up for this sort of thing. And her identity, where's she gonna find it? Yes, she finds it in me, but in her spaces and places, she also needs to see it. So I'm doing my damnedest to raise a healthy child who knows who she is and who her people are, and find strength that they were kings and queens, And you know she's gonna get it from me. So anyway, getting back to that, those are some of the things, sense of community, positive role models, that role of resilience in their lives, and the family, the village, big mama, auntie, uncles, someone was there who knew their name, told them to get home, eat your dinner, someone cared about them in the home. Those are all themes that can emerge from my research.
Thank you. Thank you. Michelle, your work lives at the intersection of art, monument building, and organizing. How do you decide what form a story needs in order to move people toward action?
How do I decide?
Just
Yes.
open her mouth. I mean, just I'm ready right now. Let's go.
Well, I mean, it's the truth. The truth is how I decide, because we've been lied to for so long. And it's, I was having a conversation the other day with someone, and they were asking, how do we teach the young people about the horrific, the horrors of not only enslavement, but lynching? And we got to get to the root, right? Because Donald Trump didn't come out. Can I say that? Y'all gonna judge me? And I say that, let me just digress for a second. I started reading J. Marion Sims has a book out, and it's called The Stories of My Life. And in this book, go online, please get it and read it. He talks about how he was looking and starving for the affection of his father. And it talks about his childhood. But the whole time that I'm reading about this man who was neglected by his father, who only wanted to please him, I'm thinking about the President of the United States. What has happened to him to make him the man that he is today? What has happened to people to make us hate each other? Because we didn't come out like that. So I say that to say, we got to get to the root of what's ailing us, this dis-ease, right? I'm sorry, I digress. It's so much that I want to say about that, but I will refrain from carrying on. All I know is that we have to heal. We have to get to this root issue with us and what we're seeing in our nation. And can I say this, and y'all not judge me? I'm so very glad. I can't say that I'm glad that this is happening, but we needed the covers to be pulled off. To hear my 83-year-old father say, this Jim Crow I do not know. This Klan I don't know. He said, we knew them by their shoes. He said, the veil has been lifted. There's no longer a shroud to cover them. They are telling us and showing us who they are. And I have empathy in some respect. Don't judge me, because I'm like, how did you get there? You've been abused too. Hatred is abusive. Racism is abusive. The system is abusive. You understand? So we all need some liberation. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to go there. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. The way you speak is beautiful, so thank you so much. In thinking about the Mothers of Gynecology, and also what we see at Glide every day, people coming in with open wounds and needing care, both of your work is deeply connected to public health and medicine, and from Glide's new reimagined behavioral health department to the Mothers of Gynecology's health and wellness clinic, working with doulas. Why does healing and health feel so central to justice and repair?
You can't do anything if you're not healthy, or if you're hurting, if you're in pain, if you're suffering. You can't move into a societal sort of norm, or whatever you want to call it. You can't normalize your life. We got people coming to Glide with gashes in their leg, and you can see the bone. And UCSF has been an amazing, amazing partner. And Rabbi has cultivated that relationship over the years, and they go every year to Alabama. They go to Alabama because healthcare has been the bastion of racism in many instances, even today. and they want to learn how to be better. They want to learn the doctors want to learn how to be equitable and treat people with dignity and respect at UCSF and here at Glide. So I know we are so not where we need to be, Michelle and everyone, around how we take care of people, but I know a healthy mind and body, you begin to think about, maybe I will get a job. And here's an example, and I don't want to take over the conversation, but we're opening up a barbershop here at Glide on March 5th. Barbershop. And some people think, oh, it's a barbershop. Let me tell you why we opening a barbershop. Because the data shows that there are black men over 50 dying on the street at a higher rate. If you can get somebody, think about when you go to the salon, girl. I know when I go to the salon, I feel good when I come out. But when you go in to get a haircut, and you begin to think about your health, and you begin to feel good and smell better, you begin to think about, maybe I will get a job, or maybe I'll go to the NA group they got upstairs, or maybe I'll think about recovery. I feel good about myself, right? Maybe I'll think about getting housed now, or go to our men's closet and getting some clothes, right? Our safety and support team every day are getting people off the street to come in here, but the barbershop is another doorway to healing. You talk about healing? Everything we're doing here is by design. The Taste Center, the barbershop, the programs we're opening is to heal people, to get people wanting to get off the streets, get off the ground. I don't know if you guys were here 2.5 years ago, but we used to walk over tents and bodies coming up the Glide Street. I said, no more. Our insides need to reflect our outsides, and our outsides need to reflect what's on the inside of this building. Right, Cecil? Our build every day, you got people walking up and down our street, and they have to walk over bodies. It's disgraceful. We are in dire times right now in the Tenderloin, but it's getting better. But it's taking all of us. It's taking all of our energy. And so Glide is one piece of the answer. You're the answer, because you got an uphill battle down south. Tell us how you're feeling about this. Tell us how you're feeling about, the healing aspect of all this.
The healing aspect, again, the freedom is in knowing. Is in, we shall know the truth, and the truth shall what? Set us free. It'll make us free. And so making us free includes community, being proximate, being close to the issues, like here. It was wonderful sitting out and on the purple and orange benches out there. It was clean and beautiful and welcoming with the mural on the wall. You know what I'm saying? It's like just infusing the art and having a comfortable place to sit is dignity. That's integrity for an organization. That's respect for the people that you serve. That's empathy, which connects us all. I'm not going to cry here. But that's the dire that we need. And so in the South, I'm having some empathy for those who are sick. Our society is sick. Hatred makes you sick. How can you not love someone that has a need? And I have to bring Jesus in the room on this one. He said, he without sin, you cast the first stone. It was a woman with him, and they called her a prostitute. And she was rolling with Jesus. See, this Jesus that they got out here, Rabbi, I don't know. I don't know who that is that's laying hands on President Trump. I don't know. Because my Jesus says, love those who hate you, do despitefully use you, right? That's a creative extremism. That's extreme. Black man helped Jesus carry the cross. Where's the hate coming from? You understand?
If Jesus is in town, he'd be in the Tenderloin.
Yeah, I'm trying to tell you.
I'm just saying.
The outcast, right? The unloved. And so basically, I just, I feel so strongly about where we are in this country and the narrative that has been shaped, the extreme narrative that's been shaped around using religion. But I also believe that freedom can come from us in this room alone, the energy and that's here, the people that are here, your connections that are sitting from the front pew to the back, who you can help, who you can liberate. It's all in accepting the pain that we are seeing, that we are experiencing. I felt it when I got out of the car, that what you all are doing is so beautiful. It's so needed. So when Jesus said, he without sin cast the first stone, Glide is a hospital. We are here to heal, to liberate, so that others, and then send them out so they can heal and liberate others from this dis-ease. That's all I can hear in my spirit. This is a dis-ease. We're uncomfortable. I love you. Will cure the dis-ease. Thank you. But the haircut is a I love you. It cures the disease. Tampons, for those who can't get it. Basic stuff. Hygiene products, toothpaste, toothbrush. A meal is a I love you for the disease. I can't, y'all are working me.
We love you,
love
Michelle.
you.
I'll just add off of what Michelle said. I don't know if many people know this story, but when I first started at Glide, I was trying to understand Glide. And you're holding the fan, which has our 5 values on it, and one of them is radically inclusive, one of them is loving and hopeful, truth-telling for the people in celebration. And early on at Glide, Eric, who is our advocacy manager at Glide, told me a great story of Cecil, of KKK members came to Glide, and they wanted to test what it meant if Cecil was really serious about radically inclusive. And he just told them, you're welcome here, keep coming back. And some of those men ended up leaving those beliefs behind and transforming their lives. So I just want to say, I think what you're saying is so real, and that people can be transformed, so thank you for that. With our final question, because I want to leave a little bit of time for Q&A, is, I know for many people in this current political climate, many people feel under attack and are carrying deep anxiety about our government and power. And my question for both of you is, what sustains you to stay in this work when things feel heavy? And how do Black women, and honestly, anyone, how do we stay taking care of ourselves while we are doing this work? I know, heavy, sorry.
I just know what gets me up every day, Michelle, and everyone. Being able to see my team smiling, Eric, everyone, Anthony, in the morning when I come in, they're smiling. To say hello to people on the street and smile at them, they might not have got a smile today or been spoken to. Changing lives. We are a hospital. We are a respite. We are a city of refuge. That's what Glide is. And I am so honored to be in the heart of this. And I just want everybody to be brought into this mission of love, unconditional love. And that's what gets me up in the morning. And I know that, I remember when I had my interview, I told the panel, like, who is this woman? I said, if Jesus was in town, he'd be in the Tenderloin. And they just sat there like, wow. I have a love agenda for the city, I have a love agenda for the people, and that's what gets me up in the morning, is to make sure San Francisco has a love agenda for its people. And that the healing and the love and bringing these values to life. And so it is a disease. We're in dire need, but we can't go backwards.
No, ma'am.
Remembering is meaning we will never forget what Anarcha and Lucia and the other young lady did for us. Period. And they live, I bet you there's been no paranormal experience, nothing there, because they're living with us right now.
Yes.
So they're alive. So that's what keeps me going. Naima.
Thank you.
Oh, what keeps me going is, y'all don't judge me because I dropped out of college. What keeps me going is when I get a text from someone that's at Harvard that's teaching about the Mothers of Gynecology. Come on now. That some student is learning about something that happened to Black women, to Black girls, to white men, to white women. The abuse is coming from both sides. Somebody told you were special, you're not. That's abuse, to lie to someone. So what keeps me going is the family that came upstairs. Where are they? I think they're gone. Oh, there they are.
Right there. Yeah.
The family that I met 6 years ago. The little girl who remembered, that keeps me going. Thank you. It keeps me hopeful when I see people from California come out to learn in little old Montgomery, Alabama, where folks are scared to even show up because we still have to rely on your green book sometimes. There are sundown towns. There are places where you shouldn't go, but Montgomery is not one of them. So what keeps me going is the love and the respect and the dignity that people are bringing to the table to talk about this history, but also live in the memory, but also to carry it forward and help free someone else by just telling them the truth about where we are in this country. So that's what keeps me going forward and moving.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Okay. So we now have time for 2 to 3 questions from the audience. If you raise your hand, someone will come and bring you a microphone. Or maybe just stand and we'll see if, I'll repeat the question. Yes, you're welcome to use my mic. Thank you, Rabbi.
Hi, thank you. My question, I actually work at UCSF and I will have the privilege of joining you on the Alabama pilgrimages in April. So I am excited about that. This is my first knowledge of Mothers of the Movement. And my question is for the artist. This is my first experience with this, and I'm excited to see it. However, I'm just wondering how, if you incorporated Henrietta Lacks. I know most of us know the story of Henrietta Lacks. Did you incorporate that into your art?
I did not. However, I did get a call from the family who wants me to create something for her. But no, I didn't. I wanted to stay exclusively on what happened during the time of 1843 all the way up to 1849 with these girls. Yeah, so no, I didn't add her, but so there's a story about the whole Oprah Winfrey. You know, she was like, I was a latchkey kid. So these people that I have here, Nina Simone, there's a quote that she has about how it's, you know, the artists, what the world and what the nation needs more of are not only the creative extremists, but we need artists, right? And she talks about that. And so I use the names of people that have inspired me. Nina Simone being one of them, a gifted woman that did not have the opportunity to be that classical pianist like she wanted to be, but had to find love and support from outside of the United States. So each name has a special meaning, and Nina is one of them. It's an artist's duty to declare the times in which they live. That's the quote. Thank you.
Michelle, my name is Malik Washington. I'm a Black journalist here in the city and county of San Francisco. In 1992, I was attending HBCU, Morgan State University, and I met your father. Yes, I did. I met Anthony Browder. I fell in love with Nile Valley Civilization Exploding the Myths, Volume 1.
Come on.
Now, what I want to know from you is when I studied, I didn't just read it, I studied the work of Henrik Clark and Ben Buchanan. When I studied the book, I learned the truth about the Black Madonna. right? And when they would go to visit these Egyptian sarcophaguses, and at the beginning, before they went in, there was an onyx, Black Madonna. And we see a white Jesus, right? With a Virgin Mary. And my question is this: how can we translate these truths into the books and the curriculum in our schools today? Why can't we get these truths? Can you answer that for me? I love you, Michelle.
I love you too, brother. What does that red hat say, though? I'm sorry, okay. I was distracted. I can't, I'm just playing.
Niners.
Woo, you was about to get canceled. No, I'm just kidding. We have to create our own schools. It's time for us to get, so when you're in dire, right? When you're in need, what folks needed back then were schools, hospitals, infirmaries. So I am totally for opening up your own school, teaching your own children, and any child that wants to learn or a parent that is willing to let their child know these truths. And that's what we've done. That's what we're doing. We're opening up our own health clinic, or I don't even want to say clinic, our healthcare centers, creating our own revenue streams, right? Because now they're starting to go after the funding. Glad, y'all should know, they're coming after your pocketbook. So you're gonna have to be creative, create other forms of revenue streams. And so that's the answer, friend. It's okay for us to go back to the days of old and create. They did it after the Civil War. They did it during civil rights. They started, private schools. In Alabama, we have private schools. After integration, they didn't want black kids being there with white kids, right? So the money started their own private school. There you go. So I say, yeah, freedom schools, absolutely. So now it's time for us to get back to that until the smoke clears. Yeah.
Okay, I think we have time for one more question. Okay, right here. In the back, right there.
In order to be creative, it requires tremendous vulnerability. And trying to help people feel safe enough to be creative feels incredibly difficult at this time and incredibly necessary. So what I would ask is, what would be your words on how we can help people, including ourselves, on feeling safe enough to be vulnerable enough to be extremely creative?
Do we have time?
I got time.
I can only say that because we're in such a dire need, right? Because the world in which we're living in is in turmoil. I don't even think we have time to sit and absolutely, like, it's a right now. It's either do or die, right? Either we do it or we don't. Either we seize the moment or we let it go and we find ourselves on the other side of history. We don't have time to contemplate, to talk ourselves out of it. So in other words, you gotta go. You have to be vulnerable, but you gotta go. The situation is dire, right? There's an urgent, I think Dr. King talked about the urgency of now. This is urgent. They're locking up reporters. Freedom of speech is that we don't have time to be skittish, fearful, second thinking, what is they called? Second thoughts or talking yourself. Second guessing yourself, you don't have time. Yeah. We just have to be willing to open up and say, I'm a vessel, use me. Whoever you believe, we need to be used at this time. We are all here for a reason. There's a mission, a vision, and a purpose for your life, ma'am. You don't have time to wait. The situation is dire.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Dr. Gina Frommer, Michelle Browder, thank you for all of your knowledge and wisdom. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. And Eric Arguello, who is our events planner who made this event happen. Thank you, Eric, as well. Yeah. So, okay. We have a few updates. We have some big events coming up, and also Michelle Browder just talked a lot about her work. We're actually going to Alabama twice in April, so make sure you can sign up here if you are already, I heard Michelle, I'm 100% going, or we're having a webinar where you can find out more information. And then in 2 weeks, on April 26th, we have Angela Davis coming to Glide. It's a free event. It will sell out probably next week already. But please use the QR code to RSVP if you're interested in attending. Thank you all.